about a chess match in Sin City? We've got the offensive mind of Lincoln Riley at USC taking on the defensive mind of Mike Elko at Texas A&M. A battle of two teams that started the season hot, but really cooled off as the season went on. Who finishes the year strong with a little bit of momentum heading into next year? That is what we are here to answer today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, ready to break down this Las Vegas Bowl. USC taking on Texas A&M. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of those expert picks, and home to that holiday special as well. Some of the best picks in the entire country. All of our college football bowl game picks and all of our NFL picks for the rest of the year can be found over on thegridironexpert.com. And again, we're winning big right now. 9-3 in bowl picks, undefeated week 16 in NFL. We want to take, we want to get you guys on board. We want to get you guys winning big with us. We profited. Our current subscribers profited. We want you to start winning big with us too, especially during this holiday season. Again, the link for that down in the description below. So let's take a look at this. Let's get into the backstory first of USC and Texas A&M, right? USC is at 6-6, Texas A&M's at 8-4. We said these two teams started hot, but they faltered down the stretch. USC, and it's funny because it was like USC did that at the beginning, A&M did that at the end. USC started off strong, right? They upset LSU in the season opener. They were 2-0. They were number 11 in the country. They lost to Michigan in heartbreaking fashion. 3-1 though, still number 11 in the country, but then finished the year 3-5. Just life in the Big Ten did not treat them very well like, it did for Oregon or somebody like that, right? They struggled a little bit in their first year in the conference. Started strong, faltered quite a bit down the stretch. A&M looked like they could be a playoff contender, right? The Aggies were 7-1, 10th in the nation. People were talking about them maybe getting to Atlanta to the SEC Championship, maybe making that 12-team playoff. 7-1 quickly turned into a 1-3 finish, losing to South Carolina, Auburn, and Texas, two of those to Carolina and Texas, by double digits. So let's take a look at the offense, though. We'll start with USC. Obviously, a lot of opt-outs, a lot of changes on that side of the ball. They already had a quarterback change, right? Miller Moss gone off to Louisville, kind of a mid-season change at quarterback, real late-season change, I should say, at quarterback. Jaden Mayava stepping in, 906 yards, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions so far on the year. But problem is, as great as he's been, as fun as he's been to watch, he torched that Notre Dame secondary, except for those 2 late pick sixes. As bright as his future is going to be with Lincoln Riley at USC, assuming he does in fact stay there, in this bowl game, he's not going to have a lot of help. In this bowl game, he's going to be without 3 of his top 5 wide receivers, in Zachariah Branch, Kyron Hudson, and Deuce Robinson. All those guys gone, transferring out of this bowl game, looking for other destinations, just like almost every other player in all of college football is doing. They're also going to be down their top 2 rushers in this game. Woody Marks not playing in this game. Rushed for over 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns. So you're down your top 2 rushers. You're down 3 of your top 5 pass catchers. This offense that averaged over 440 yards per game, nearly 300 passing yards per game, which was 10th in the nation, by the way, it's going to look very different. It's not going to be the same one we've seen for the majority of this year. Things looked a little bit different when Mayava took over anyways, but things are going to look drastically different now when you've got a bunch of guys that are trying to prove themselves in this bowl game against a very quality SEC opponent. Take a look at Texas A&M. Their offense, it's middle of the pack, right? 403 yards per game puts them at 54th in the entire nation. They average over 203 passing yards per game, nearly 200 rushing yards per game. And I would say the quarterback change, right, from Connor Wigman to Marcel Reed is kind of what gave A&M this bit of a spark. It's not a massive spark. It clearly didn't get them to the playoffs. It didn't get them to Atlanta. But it felt like this offense at times was more efficient, more electric, more dangerous with Reed under center than maybe someone like Wigman, who is now transferring out of the program. Reed over 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. Also has over 500 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns on the year. Again, this team, Mike Elko has said, isn't expecting many opt-outs entering this Las Vegas Bowl. Maybe a few minor ones here and there, more so on the defensive side, which we'll get to. But the offense, for the most part, should remain intact. But the key for Texas A&M in this game, if they want to win it, comes down to 2 things. Number 1, take care of the ball. Take care of the ball. In the 3 losses that A&M had under Reed, because remember their first loss was back in week 1 against Notre Dame when Reed was not the starter. In the 3 losses under Reed, they have committed 5 turnovers. 5 turnovers and 3 losses. That led to one of those turnovers led to a touchdown in their 4 overtime loss to Auburn. Take away that turnover that led to a touchdown, they probably beat Auburn. It led to another touchdown and a 10-point loss against Texas. Who knows what the outcome of the game could have been had it been a 3-point game later in the fourth quarter instead of a 10-point game. They also turned the ball over in those 3 games and combined 6 times on downs. 6 turnovers on downs over the course of those 3 games. So they're aggressive. They're going for it. They're trying to get those 4th down conversions, and they're failing time and time again. That gives those teams better field positions, gives them better opportunities. A&M, I credit them for being aggressive. Maybe that's not always the answer. So they've got to limit the mistakes. Number two, A&M was held to under 150 rushing yards against South Carolina and Texas. They were held to under 150 yards in 2 of those 3 losses. They were held to under 170 in all 3 of them. They were held to under 170 in all 3 of them. That's a concern, right? This is a team that, again, is averaging nearly 200 rushing yards per game. So in all 3 of those losses, they were held to at least 30 yards under their season average. If they want to win the game, they've got to run the ball effectively, and they've got to take care of the ball. If you can't do those 2 things, you're not going to win, even though USC has been suspect at times on both sides of the ball, but namely on defense as well. Look, we know this. This is not Lincoln Riley's specialty. This is not his specialty. Defense is not his game. It's offense. But despite that, he made some appropriate hires, and the defense improved. USC did improve defensively, going to 371.6 yards per game. Much improved there. 230.8 passing yards per game. Not that great in the secondary, and they're giving up about 141 on the ground. They have 20 sacks on the year. They have forced 16 turnovers, which is impressive, and that's going to be the key. We talked about A&M coughs up the ball a lot, at least over this last month or so. USC finding ways to create turnovers. Can they do it again? If they can create turnovers, they can force Reed to win the game through the air. If they can force him to throw a couple interceptions, I do believe this offense, even though they're going to be depleted to an extent, can take advantage of it. But the one thing that I'm concerned about if I'm USC, they're 6-6. They're 6-6. In those 6 losses, they're allowing an average of 171.3 rushing yards per game. They have been torched on the ground in their losses. They've allowed at least 190 rushing yards in half of their losses. So at least 190 rushing yards in 3 of their 6 losses. If they can't stop the run, they're not winning this game. To win the game, you stop the run. You force Reed to win the game through the air solely by himself. We're not quite sure if he can do that. A&M, on the other hand, they have 3 key losses, as we mentioned, on the defensive side of the ball. So the offensive side of the ball, not too many. On the defensive side, yes. That's where their majority of their opt-outs and transfers and things like that are, right? Nick Scourton, Shamar Stewart, and Shamar Turner all out of this game for Texas A&M. They've combined those 3 players for 8.5 of A&M's 24 sacks. So those 3 players combining for over a third of the sacks that the Aggies have produced in 2024. Bit of a concern there. Their pass rush may not going to be that great. If you give Mayava time in the pocket to throw, even with a lot of his receivers out, he's probably going to make you pay for it. They're giving up over 137 rushing yards per game. They've given up over 226 passing yards per game. The storyline's simple. To beat USC, you have to stop the pass. To beat Texas A&M, you have to stop the run. Who's going to be able to do that? The Aggies have allowed over 250 passing yards just 3 times this year. 3 times this year, they've only allowed over 250 passing yards. And I think if they can hold Mayava to under that, I don't expect USC to run the ball extremely well in this game, especially without their top 2 rushers. So if you can contain this high-octane passing attack and a team that wants to throw the ball, a team that ranks top 10 in passing yards per game, you hold them to under 250, which would be well over 40 yards under their season average, I think you win this game. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm not saying they're going to hold them to under 250. I'm not saying they're going to hold them to a season low or anything like that. But I know Texas A&M lost 3 of their final 4. I know they struggled down the stretch. I get that. I think they turn around in this game. I look at USC and I say, man, they're losing so much on offense. They've got a young quarterback at the helm who doesn't have a lot of help, and I'm still not completely sold on this defense to stop the A&M run game. I think the Aggies can control the line of scrimmage. I think they can control the clock. I think they can force USC to try to play their game, and that is not what the Trojans want to do. They want to play a little faster. They want to play a little flashier. They want to throw the ball just a little bit more, and that's going to lead to a couple of opportunities for A&M to create some mistakes on this Trojans offense. A&M's not going to play a perfect game by any means, but I do believe they're going to be able to run the ball effectively. In doing so, we'll control the clock. We'll limit the amount of possessions USC will have. They will commit at least one turnover in this game. The Aggies will convert off of that turnover, and Texas A&M in their first year under Mike Elko will win the Las Vegas Bowl and clinch a 9-win season. Not too bad for your first year in the SEC. Not too bad as a head coach. Not too bad for your first year in the SEC. Not too bad for your first year as a head coach of the Aggies. And a lot of momentum for College Station. Heading into College Station, I should say. Going into this 2025 season, while USC is certainly going to be looking for answers after a disappointing losing season. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to those expert picks, that holiday special, the rest of our college football bowl game spread picks, and all of our NFL picks for the rest of the year. They're at your disposal. We want you to take advantage of that. Again, the link for it down in the description below. Become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.